What's up? I'm Danny Portez, Daniel Portez, RA student. Last night I went to an kind of like a showcase open mic thing, but it was in downtown Orlando. I'm not sure what club it was at. I don't really pay attention to that. But I just went through, and of course, when you walk through, there's gonna be a good handful of music industry execs or A&Rs or music producers that are looking for artists. There's going to be a ton of that. And you can kind of tell by their body language if they're approachable, which I guess has to do with the nonverbal communication. Like they're kind of standoffish, like they separate themselves from everybody else. They don't want to be bothered. They just want to check out the talent, look at the acts, and leave. Handle their business, which is understandable. But yeah, that applies for the nonverbal communication. Um, what else? This comes with the listening. They're very time oriented listeners. Like, if you talk to them, you better know that you're only going to have 3 to 4 minutes of their time to talk to them and tell them what you need to tell them and prove your point or whatever, blah, 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 blah. You feel me? But they're not going to give you the whole freaking night to say what you have to say. They're always going to be looking at their watches. They always got something to do. They're thinking about the next move and what they have to do next. And that's just the industry they're in, and that's how they think. You got to understand that. So you got to understand when you go up to, let's say, a music exec, and you're like, listen, I got this project going or whatever. I'm working on this, and the third. You only have a certain amount of time to let them know that. So that goes with the time oriented concept. What was the other concept I had? Narcissistic listening. I hope I pronounced that right. But but yeah, narcissistic listening is a big deal in the industry because let's say I have a project coming out and I'm working on this big project. It has a huge rollout. I'm pushing it as much as I can, and I go to a club to promote it. And I walk up to an A&R, I walk up to a producer or another artist, and I'm telling them about my project. You gotta understand, they're not going to give you the reaction you expect. They're not going to be. There's a freaking motorcycle. They're not gonna be as excited about your project as they will be about their own. Because if you're not talking about them, then they don't really care. Some may. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but for the most part, if you're not talking about what they're doing or whatever they have going on in their life, then they're not really going to pay much attention to you unless you make them. But it's just what it is. So we have we have the nonverbal communication, which is big in this industry because you really need to know who you're approaching and when you're approaching them and how they're gonna respond to you approaching them. Um, what else? I had the time oriented listening because these people are always on the go, always moving. So, they have things to do just like we do, maybe even more. And then the narcissistic listening, which means they're going to be thinking about themselves more than they'll be thinking about you. So remember that. Peace.